What's up, orangutan? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Ah, my eye. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Good Times to Be Had show. Here we go again. This is kind of early. Yeah, for me, huh? I mean, my schedule says I'm supposed to be live at 10 p.m. CST every day, technically, but... So actually, I'm like an hour and a half late, but still. Early for me, because I normally am not able to come out here until like 12 in the morning, but... Today... A webtoon and a manga. Manga is specifically Japanese drawn cartoonistry, or whatever you'd call it. Cartoonery. I don't know what the proper name for it is. Whereas a webtoon is like, that normally refers to Western styles of comic drawing. By the way, make sure you guys are hitting that like button, and please consider sharing the stream, actually. I don't normally ask for that, but we are so close to hitting 6,000 subs, and that is, I mean, that just feels great. That feels amazing. My goal, I would like to have 10,000 by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Honestly, I would like to have 10,000 by the end of October, but probably not going to make that. Probably not going to be able to get quite that good with the growth numbers, but we're trying. We're getting there, you know. Well, hello, Matt Blank. There's only 3 people here, but it says 10. Well, oftentimes the view count and the number of chatters don't necessarily line up. There's lots of people who, like a lot of my regular watchers, I'll get messages from them every so often that tell me, you know, I'm watching even if I'm not commenting and shit like that. And that's the experience for a lot of people who enjoy live streams like this. I mean, I know I do that with a lot of people that I watch. Just watch them in the background or whatever. I'm not necessarily participating in the chat actively every time they're streaming, but... Oh no, I've already hit 5K. I'm at 5.99K. I'm looking to hit 6K. And I want to hit 10K by the end of the year. I would like to reach 50K by the end of next year, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see where the tides of life take me. Make sure you guys hit that like button. There's 60 people watching. If half of you guys hit that like button right now, we would have 34 likes instantly. Combining with the number of likes we have right now, half the viewers we've got. So double tap your screen or hit the little button. Should be somewhere right up here, maybe. In the meantime, what do we want to talk about? Gang, do you like ice cream? Who doesn't, honestly? I don't trust a motherfucker that claims not to like ice cream. That's a lying sumbitch. You ever find you somebody that's like actively telling you they don't like ice cream? Call them out for being a lying sumbitch, because ain't nobody don't like ice cream. That's bullshit. I know, like, even lactose intolerant people like ice cream. Okay? So don't buy it. Don't buy it off somebody when they say, I don't like ice cream, you know? It's not really my thing. Don't buy that shit off that motherfucker. That motherfucker is lying to you. Censoring adult content for children. Wait, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, ice cream is the only food everyone loves. Pizza. Pizza's a good candidate, too. Pizza's like a super well-loved food, but then again, pizza's a super diverse food, because you can turn almost anything into pizza. I mean, if you're in the Midwest and you go to Casey's, they have a taco pizza, or at least they used to. I assume they probably still do. You can get barbecue pizzas. You can get different kinds of barbecue pizzas depending on where you're at. You can get buffalo chicken ranch pizzas. You can get just buffalo chicken pizzas. You can get literally, if you can imagine it, it can be placed on pizza. So I think if you were to ask Americans, like, what is your favorite food item, like overall in general, just pick a food, I think most people would either say ice cream or pizza. But I may be wrong about that. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance to make the stream even more interesting by increasing the amount of people engaging in the chat. That is the best way you can support the channel without sending a super chat. But if you want to do that, super chats are open, and I do read every single one. I appreciate them massively. Not only is it a great way to support the message and the mission of the channel, but it's also just a great way to make sure your question gets read. I'm not liking this. Well, isn't that just a tragedy for me? It's not like there's not 145 other people watching, you know? You're the only person in here, so... So do you like Trudeau or what? No, not a fan of Trump. Not a fan of Kamala. I'm wrong. But I think that Trump is a symptom of a massive fucking problem in this country. I don't think Trump is himself the problem. I don't think that Trump came in like Snidely Whiplash and made everything bad. I think that everything was getting shitty, and that Trump just took advantage of that in a way that only makes sense if you're looking at a Republican politician and what they're likely to do with the increased amount of presidential power being given to the office every year. I mean, I think this was a pretty natural and predictable outgrowth of the Bush administration and the Obama administration being completely unwilling to go back on any of those to shore up the sanctity of our tripartite system, right? The Obama administration did nothing to make sure that the sort of executive overreach that was done by the George Bush administration couldn't happen in future administrations. And because of that failure by the Democrats, trend that brought us a little bit closer to the right, allowed to go on unabated. We have a tendency, at least people on my side of politics, people on the left have a tendency to want to blame the Republicans in a vacuum by themselves, as if nothing else has happened, as if there's no other politics that have gone on, and as if their party or their politicians have never had a chance to shore things up, when the reality of it is that we've elected a bunch of different Democrats throughout the years, we meaning people on the left and people in the kind of center, independents, that kind of thing, have elected a whole slew of Democrats over the last 30 years, all in the hopes of getting some of the many things that they promise on the campaign trail. Need I remind you guys, universal health care was not pitched for the first time in the United States in 2015. It was pitched for the first time in the United States back in the 70s. It was picked up again in the 80s to no avail, and picked up again most famously in the 90s with Hillary Clinton. It was her big push as first lady. And then it kind of died out, right? Obamacare was like supposed to be that kind of middle ground solution that let Americans feel good about the state of their health care, but also let insurance companies feel good about their continued existence. And now the issue is just completely dead. And I think that if you look at, like, that's just one issue, right? But if you look at all of the issues that Democrats have ran on or have teased us with during the run-up to an election, and you look at what they've actually accomplished, that has left a sour taste in people's mouth. That has left a sour taste in people's mouth. People are not going to vote for the same old Democrats anymore. And they're not going to allow this continuous process of the ratchet effect to continually make our country less functional. And that doesn't mean that people are going to suddenly start voting Republican. If you're listening to this on the right and you think, holy shit, somebody gets it. Hold on. What I think is about to happen is a giant movement of independence or a massive, massive fucking reworking of the Democratic Party from the bottom up. But I see that as completely unlikely. I think these people are too entrenched. The people who are entrenched, the people who have everything to stand to, the people who stand to benefit the most from keeping the Democratic Party a corrupt ball of useless shit are all the people that have the power to change those things. You know, like they're not only the people who have the most incentive to keep things the way they are, they're also the people most empowered to change them. And so they're embedded like ticks. You're never going to get them out. So I don't think we should be looking to reform the Democratic Party. I think that attempt has been made. I think the attempt has been made. I do think that it's worth voting for candidates like Zohran Mamdani who decide to ally with the DNC despite being openly critical of them, despite knowing that the DNC is actively working against them. I think there's like occasionally some electoral utility to allying yourself with the DNC as far as just like party lines go. You don't have to participate in internal party politics to list yourself as a Democrat on the ballot. You know, you don't actually have to be involved in that corrupt process. So I think either we're going to start seeing a lot of candidates like Zohran who are like running for the Democratic Party, but they're not communicating with the Dems, or we're going to start to see a bunch of fucking independents and a bunch of people who are aligning around something else that's not this two-party system. Maybe it'll be a third party. Maybe it'll be a completely independent movement. I don't know, but look forward to it. Do you ever look in the mirror and wonder where it all went wrong? Man, you are a person who must be disgusted with the way you look. I sadly cannot relate to you even a little bit. I actually think that I'm pretty attractive as things go. You know, I could be way worse off. And so I don't have that problem, you know, that you've projected onto me. But now I know that you do. Interesting little confessional about yourself online. Most people don't say those things, you know, where other people might have the chance to point out the clear and obvious indication that that comes with. If it's Order 66, I'd love to ban 90% of this chat, so let me know. Let me switch to idiot mode, and then I will tell you if we need an Order 66. Let me just switch to idiot mode real quick. Anyway, see, I gotta turn idiot mode on before I make a determination like that, because otherwise I'll say like Order 66 and then I'll not have any trolls to argue with. I do need a few. I do need to farm a few of them, but I don't need quite as many as were in the chat just a second ago. Make sure you guys hit that like button. If half of you guys that hadn't hit that like button already hit that like button right now, we would have like 249 likes. No, 149 likes. Yeah, I have 149 likes like that. So come on, hit that like button. It really does help. And if you want to make absolutely sure that your question gets read, your comment gets read, consider sending a super chat. I do read every single one, and I appreciate them massively. It's a great way to support the channel, support the mission that we're trying to do here, you know, whatever that is. Which I think, if you haven't figured it out already, we're trying to have conversations here, ultimately. I've got pretty crazy politics, but I think that ultimately they're a lot more relatable than people give them credit for when they actually hear what I want out of the country, when they hear how I want things to work, you know. I think it's pretty reasonable, you know. I really don't think I'm that much of an extremist, but some people would label me that way, and I really don't think that a lot of the people on my side of politics I don't think a lot of the people that people on my side of politics would label as extremists on the other side are necessarily such either. What we try to do here is to break down boundaries, to have real conversations between real people, and we try our best to sort through the bots and the spammers and the bullshit and make that our goal. And if you like that, you will love this channel. If you disagree with me, that's great. I want to hear it. I want to argue with you. Not because I'm under the delusion that I'll change your mind. The fuck? Not because I'm of the opinion that I'll change your mind or cure you of any delusion or anything like that, but because I think it's fun to argue, God damn it. I think it's fun to argue, and there's a good chance that somebody listening might have their perspective altered or at least reconsidered because of something we talk about. So come on, hit me with it. The issue is no one wants to come to an agreement. They always take and not give. I think that that's just an issue of like the foul discourse here in America. I don't know if you're talking. I'll tell you, for the country that I live in and the culture that I'm in, it seems like there is a real reticence to just have like regular everyday conversations like this with people that disagree with you. It seems like something that our culture is moving away from, but it's something that used to be an everyday, typical part of American life. You see it in our movies. You see it in our TV shows. Americans love to motherfucking argue. We love to argue about politics. We love to argue about social issues. We love to argue about religion. And for some reason, we are getting to the point as a country where we can't just argue with each other. We got to scream and yell at each other. Why? We got to demean each other just right off the bat. You know, it's one thing if you demean me, I'm going to demean you back, you know, but I try not to start off people that way. Right? And to me, that's just a basic social standard. And I'm autistic, and I understand that. And a lot of the people in this country that are responsible for this behavior we're calling out right now are not fucking autistic. Neurotypical people that are choosing, for whatever reason, to be less functional in conversations that matter. We're here to change that. We're here to show people that there is another way. You can confront people you disagree with strongly and stand your ground and not scream at them and not get emotionally fucking disturbed by it and not take it home and think about it for the rest of the day. You can do that. And you know what happens from that? People grow. People learn. I take a little bit of your perspective and you take a little bit of my perspective, and we come together and make something better out of a shared perspective we never would have got if we listened to what this culture wants from us, which is isolation, division, separation. You can't talk to me because I'm a trans woman. I can't talk to you because you're a MAGA. Why? Says who? The billionaires, that's who. The billionaires and their mouthpieces. So why do we give a fuck? Do you live in New Hebron? Hebron? That must be like a coastal city or some shit, because I don't even know how to pronounce that town's name. Must be some coastal shit. Jesus. No, I mean, like, your comment didn't make me pull up my shirt. I just pull up my shirt regularly. I read I don't know if it was your comment. I read some old comment about a bra, but all it made me think is, like, I am showing my cleavage a bit much. Which is fine on some outfits, but I feel like this one is just not one of those outfits that naturally lends itself well to that kind of thing, you know? Like, it's not a titty shirt, so it doesn't look very good worn as a titty shirt. Is this someone just trying to, like, type nigger over and over again, or faggot or something again? Like, is this just spam? No, okay. That was just a bunch of messages that didn't get approved in a row. Okay, cool. Have you debated transcendental arguments? No. That sounds a bit above my pay grade, I'll be honest with you. I am not super well read when it comes to metaphysics or really even just like broad philosophy. I've read some shit. I've read the Tao Te Ching. I've read Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. I've read excerpts from the work that Socrates is most well known from. I forget what it's called, but I've read most of the Communist Manifesto, so I guess that's a philosophical treatise. But I haven't read like shit tons of philosophy or shit tons of like religious texts outside of the Bible or anything like that. So when it comes to like the finer details of which intelligent person 200 years ago said this thing to this other intelligent person that lived 200 years ago. You got me. I don't fucking know. I mean, I might have like a vague idea if it's somebody I've read a little bit about, but that's like 20 or 30 people, you know? So I am just not the person to ask for a fucking debate about complex transcendental meditation or whatever. Way above my pay grade. I feel pretty qualified to talk about American politics because I'm a reasonably well-educated American. Like, graduating high school and having some vocational school and a few college credits under your belt does place you in a little bit of a special camp. Like you've got a little bit more education than the average American, but it doesn't give you some like special access. Like, it doesn't give you like special access to every bit of knowledge you need to go into any little topic that you want to. Some people treat it like it does, though. Some people treat their little bit of college credit like it gave them, like, I don't know, insight into the entire planet. Which I get that college education is ultimately supposed to provide a little bit of like general ed on top of whatever you're doing outside, like for your specialty. I get that, you know, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean if you go in for a biology degree that you're qualified to talk about rocket science if you get out. Anyway, these comments are wild. They always are. They literally always are. This is what I make my living off of, though. Literally. Like, my main day job is not obviously this. I stream for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours a night. But when I have my free time at night, when, you know, when the baby's asleep, when my partner's asleep, and everything's chill, I come out here and this is what I do. I argue with people online that take issue with me for one reason or another. Most of them take issue with me because I'm trans. Some of them take issue with me because I'm a super crazy far lefty. Some of them just take issue with me because I'm just myself. But I take them all. Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be. Hey, Phoebe, do you remember me from the other day? I do, Abigail. I do, actually. I did a busking stream you might want to check out yesterday. We got $4.99 from Ohio Taxinson. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What is the reaction when you enter a public restroom? Also, what type of card is that? So, this, I don't remember the brand on it, and it's not marked with a brand, but it's just a THCA card that I got from a gas station. I live in Mississippi, and you like can literally just get these from gas stations and smoke shops and shit, and it's one of those. It's got two little things in it, and one of them's indica and the other sativa. I don't even remember the strains that it's supposed to have on it because I throw away the packaging pretty much immediately after I make sure that it works. So can't really tell you much about the cart, but as far as my reaction when I go into public restrooms, because of all the vitriol against trans people when it comes to public restrooms, I don't go into the public women's restroom if it's like a multi-person restroom. I just won't risk it. I will just save my need to go to the bathroom until I get to a place that has single-person restrooms. Because for some reason, well, I guess I understand the reason, right? But there's this distinction made between a single-person bathroom and the reaction of someone who doesn't conform to the gender listed on the door going into that bathroom versus someone doing that in a multi-person bathroom. They're just looked at completely differently for whatever reason. And I think that it mostly has to do with the fact that a single-person bathroom, obviously you can isolate that. It's just one person, so you don't have to worry about, even though I think it's a completely misplaced concern, and I guess that's why I say for some reason, because I think that if you look at it logically, you should know that trans people are the least likely people to assault you in a public bathroom. They are way more likely to be the victims. We are way more likely to be the victims of that kind of thing than we are to perpetrate it. That's just fucking statistical fact. Literally, just statistical fact when it comes to that. But like, if you are someone that's operating under that delusion that there is some risk to going into a bathroom with a trans person, then single-person bathrooms, well, it doesn't matter what bathroom anybody goes into because whatever, it's just one person at a time. So I will go to a single-person bathroom, and usually there's no reaction at all, no matter what bathroom I come out of. Usually, like, sometimes I'll get like a like a weird look or a dirty look if I come out of the women's room, but sometimes I'll get that if I come out of the men's room too, you know? Like sometimes when I don't necessarily think that I'm passing all that well, I'll go into the men's room if it's like a single person bathroom, because I'm like, whatever, I can clean it up well enough to use it for a second. Men's restrooms, by the way, are the most disgusting places on the face of the earth. Just gonna put that out there. Anyway, but I'll bite the bullet and I'll grin and bear it, right? But like sometimes I'll think that I'm not passing that well and do that, and then when I come out of the bathroom, there's some dude waiting on me, and I see that they give me like this really weird look. So clearly they think I pass. Otherwise, like they wouldn't be so weirded out. I don't know, dude. Bathrooms are a fucking complicated thing for trans people nowadays because we really don't have any sanctity for doing the most basic of human functions. Everybody else in this culture is allowed to go piss where they want to. Well, not where they want to, but you're allowed to go piss in the bathroom that aligns with how you feel or whatever the fuck, right? Because it's not contradicting some backwards person's idea of what gender and sex means. Whereas for me, if I want to go pee, I don't even feel safe going into a multi-person restroom anymore because I'm reasonably certain that at some point, if I had just continued to live as I always had since coming out as trans, going into the women's restroom, I like there was an incident that happened where I was just like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm just not going to go into multi-person women's restrooms anymore because I'm going to end up getting in a fight with one of these bitches. Like that's just the fucking truth of it. And after that, like ever since that, it's been single person bathrooms or nothing for me. And I don't project it'll ever change, honestly, unless this culture begins to change on its perception of trans people. If this culture can manage to get over the fucking completely bullshit notion that trans people pose some kind of danger to their lives, then I will happily start going to the bathroom that matches the gender I actually am, live as, and identify as. But until that day, I'm just going to save it for the house. You know, I'm just going to use the bathroom before I go, like right before I go, and then hold it until I can either get to a single person bathroom or get to the house. And before you ask, yes, road trips are hell. Oh my god. Be gone, bitch. Alright, yeah, I don't know if Jareth is still here, but Order 66, anyone just trying to be an idiot, get rid of them. Anybody trying to be like a shit stirrer, get rid of them. I don't want all the trolls gone, but I want everybody who's not actively responding to something I said or being intelligent about the fucking shit talk that they're spewing. I want them gone. Because I have tried to read the chat for something to have like a little bit of fucking reaction to for like 5 times now. And I just had to touch the shit personally. So you know what? Jareth was right. I should have listened. Why? I'm streaming for almost a year now, and I still have not learned to just listen to my mods. Jareth was talking about the Order 66 10 minutes ago. And I told him, nah, we need to wait. We'll just wait on that, because you never know. They might end up being smart. Man, you guys disappointed me on such a profound, visceral level. Do you understand that? Hey, Phoebe, I asked a question earlier, but been having a hard time because of the chat. Could you read my chat history? Yeah, for sure. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Do you think 2 things can be true at the same time? 1, this new YT thing that can make adult channels being pushed into kids' YT sucks. This new YT thing that can make adult channels being pushed into kids' YT sucks. These platforms could do a better job of censoring adult content for children. Well, yeah. 100%, Matt. Yes. 100%. Dude, at least YouTube is trying. That's kind of how I feel about it. But then again, you understand, I haven't been with this platform as long as Paul has. I haven't been with this platform nearly as long as Frey has. I haven't been making money on this platform like a % as long as they have, you know? So If they say that this is just bogus, then I would trust, because I heard Paul talking about it earlier, and I kind of do agree with him, but I don't know. I still think YouTube is going to have to iron out the kinks in it. That's another thing I think people are not giving due consideration. But once again, I haven't been with the platform that long. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding, but my understanding is that it's a market test right now. So it's not all accounts. It's not happening in all of America, but it's going to be tweaked and expanded, and I'm hoping that what they roll out in the end is something functional that doesn't be. And honestly, like, the fucking fucked up thing of it is, like, there's so many people getting pissed right now about this whole ID thing, the YouTube Real ID threats and all this shit. But you know what the reality of it is? Most of you motherfuckers are just going to upload your ID into YouTube so that you can get into your account. And then you're going to be way more secure and way more intelligent about your account, too. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We need people being more considerate about the things we say online. We need people to be more intelligent about the way they act online, you know? Are you a fan of Deep Fat Fried / Onion Nuggets too? I think I've seen your comments on one of their lives. I've been watching them for years. Oh yeah. No, I'm a mod on Paul's channel. If you've ever heard them talking about Phoebe, that's me. I'm the crazy bitch who tried to make an argument for owning big cats if you have enough land and equipment and resources for them, on a story about Joe Exotic. It's one of my proudest moments because, you know, honestly, it's just because TJ responded to that comment with, Phoebe, what do you have? Just like zeroed in on it. And of course I dodged the question, you know, I told them in DMs at some point, but yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs. I've been watching TJ since I was about 14, 15, give or take. I would say 15, actually. I'm watching TJ since I was about 15, been watching Paul since I was about 17 or 18. And yeah, I wasn't like a ground floor DP watcher, but I did watch them back in the day. I was definitely watching them by the time I was 16 or 17, so I would have been watching in the early days of DP. Holy shit, literally I'm looking at the chat for something to comment on, and the majority of it is just bans. And some high schools, there were scholarships taking from female athlete runner that lost him in. What? What are you going on about? Let them freak out. They let you be a freak online? No, I'm fine with them freaking out. It's just in my chat. Like, it's one thing. If I wasn't using my chat for anything, I honestly wouldn't even bring them up. But the fact of it is, this is a stream that's reliant on the chat. Good, bad, right, or wrong, that's the format of this particular show, is me talking to you guys about whatever you guys want to talk about. But that involves the chat being participatory in a way that requires you guys to not spam the chat and to be a little bit more judicious with your insults and shit. Like, if you're gonna talk shit, make it something interesting and worth reading. That's all I'm asking. If you're gonna disagree with me, make it substantive. Give me some fucking meat to chew on. Don't hand me an old dry bone and expect me to spin gold out of it. Yeah, that's the thing. You say that, Riddick, but, like, our reality is the objective reality that is out there. There's just a community of anti-trans bigots that have decided to run with an alternative reality in which trans people don't exist. But the fact of it is, the Mayo Clinic says you're wrong. The DSM-5 says you're wrong. Most of the American medical community, the vast majority, say that you're wrong. And the Netherlands, their record of trans healthcare proves that you're wrong. I've got the authority behind me, in my corner, the authority of science, the authority of the scientific method, the authority of the American medical community, the authority of basically anybody who has anything meaningful to say that has been educated in any meaningful way about healthcare and medicine. That's in my corner. In your corner, the Bible, though. But the Bible says it worked this way, so it worked this way. But the Bible says it do. The Bible. You really want to come at me with the whole reality thing again? If I start inquiring as to your deeper beliefs, what are the chances we come upon some fake reality bullshit that you've cooked up for yourself and decided to believe in because it's more convenient than believing actual reality as it exists around you? Dude, America is not number one. America, for smoggy skies, insecticided grains, for strip-mined mountains' majesty, above the asphalt plains. America, America, man sheds his waste on me, and hides the pines with billboard signs, from sea to spoiled sea. That's America. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that in some ways, America might still be the best place to live in certain ways. I think if you're rich, I think if you've got the ability to enjoy the full breadth of whatever country you're living in, there's no better country to be that way than America. And if you consider that a great thing, then America is the best country ever. If you consider that kind of problematic, then it really doesn't have much fucking weight on it doesn't really have much bearing on its standing in the world, on the world stage, right? In my opinion, America is the most beautiful country on the planet, especially because we have Alaska. We have Alaska, one of the most beautiful fucking landscapes on the planet, one of the most varied and beautiful landscapes on the planet. So we've got Alaska, we've got the PNW, we've got the Northeast, we've got the South, we've got the Southwest, we've got the Plains, and all of these states have their own unique beauty to them. All of these states have places where you can go and have a picnic and just at some point look around and take it in, like, and just feel the wind on your skin and in your hair, and see the giant stretching plains for miles ahead of you. That sort of thing is so fucking incredible and so abundant in America. But that's only one axis on which we are judged. That's only one axis. And there are more important axes in my mind than merely how beautiful our country is. What's up, Glitch? What's up? What's up? What's up? No, Greenland can be a pretty place. But then again, I consider like ice caps to be pretty as well. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of those people that finds a lot of beauty in nature in general. But yeah, I think that when it comes to like just the pure amount of nature that you can experience here, I think I think America's a clear winner there. And I think that America probably has some of the nicest climates you can find too, if you're willing to deal with some of the drawbacks, right? Because like with snow 6 months out of the year, the mountains of Colorado, I mean, you can live in a place where you never need to have air conditioning. It's entirely possible. There are places that I drove through when I was on my way to the Colorado Rainbow Gathering in 2022. There are places that I drove through in the mountains of Colorado that are just fucking, literally, it's the beginning of July, one of the hottest months of the year in those places. And this place that I broke down, it was like 14,000 feet up, right? So massively, just a massive amount of elevation. And I remember, once again, bear in mind, this is like the 30th of June or the 31st of June or some shit, right? Or like the 1st of July or something like that. I had to wear my fucking trench coat to be able to walk to the little town that was nearest us to get parts and shit. Like, I had to wear my fucking trench coat because it was like 68 degrees, felt like. Maybe even cooler. Could have been like 65. And that was literally middle of summer, late spring, middle of summer. It depends on how you want to see it. In the South, that feels like the middle of summer. That feels like the beginning slash middle of summer, like the beginning slash early middle. I know it's technically the beginning of summer, but it feels different in different places. But it just never gets above like 72 in certain places in the Colorado mountains. There are places on the coast of California where it never gets above 75 or 80. There are places, and on the converse side, if you like a place that never gets cold, there are places all over the South, like the southernmost tip of Florida never gets below like 45 degrees, as far as I know. If you did free speech in 90% of Europe, you would not be jailed. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. Yeah, no, this idea that you can't fucking do free speech shit in Europe is complete bullshit. Now there are countries where you stand more of a risk. There are countries where it's way easier to get jailed for things that you say than America, and I do think that that's one of the beautiful things about America. I almost didn't bring it up, but it's worth mentioning, right? America has robust and profound and meaningful free speech laws. You know, we don't have hate speech here, and I tend to, even though I'm a marginalized person, even though I've had slurs thrown at me, I tend to err on the side of hate speech shouldn't be a crime, right? I don't know that I'm a free speech absolutist in the sense that I think people should be protected in their speech necessarily from every consequence, right? But I don't think the government should be able to levy a consequence, and I think that the government probably has some kind of duty to step in when a group of people is trying to silence somebody merely for what they're trying to say. I think that if those people want to gather up and try their best to drown them out, then that's just using their free speech back. But if they want to like hogpile this person and beat them to death for what they're saying, that's a violation of free speech in my mind. I think that that's one of the beautiful things about America. I think it's worth preserving, right? Because there are places like Great Britain where if you say something is, I'm going to say something that would be locked up if I were in Britain. Okay, are you ready? I'm about to break British law. Ready? Do you guys know what I'm about to say? I'm about to break British law with a phrase. You ready? None of you guys have gotten it so far. I'm about to break British law by saying a phrase. Okay, I'm going to say it. I support and believe in the right of existence of Palestine action. There you go. I did it. I just broke British law because Palestine action was prescribed by the British government. And see, this is one of those places where I feel like I can be kind of jingoistic because you see, as an American, I had to look up what prescribed meant when that happened. Actually, it wasn't when that happened. It was when that band,